Record rainfall back in the spring and summer led to flooding across much of the state. And while most of the focus was on life and livestock, wildlife was impacted too. Curtis Hare shows us how wetlands have helped heal the ecosystems of Oklahoma.
You know, wetlands are really important, and you know, they can add a lot to your land by having them on your land. And a great example of this is floodplain wetlands. As we've went and channelized a lot of our rivers and streams, we have lost that buffering of those floodplain wetlands. And so they actually slow the release of water downstream and capture a lot of that flood water so that we don't have these devastating floods in a lot of our towns and cities along these rivers. And so wetlands play a very important role in terms of buffering and mitigating flood damage.
The U.S. has lost about 50% of wetlands due to draining and damming up the rivers. In Oklahoma, 70% have disappeared.
The attitude for many years has been that wetlands are these mosquito-ridden swamplands that have no value at all. But in reality, wetlands have tremendous value.
Wildlife also benefits from wetlands. Extension wildlife specialist DWAYNE Elmore says this ecosystem is essential for many Oklahoma species.
So there's a lot of species of wildlife that use wetlands and some species of wildlife that require wetlands. One that comes to mind obviously are amphibians, frogs and salamanders, also aquatic turtles. All of these species need wetlands for at least a portion of their life cycle. But also lots of birds nest in and around wetlands, things like red-winged blackbirds, lots of waterfowl. There are some species that need deep water wetlands and wetlands that might be flooded for a longer portion in the year. But other species require wetlands that might only have water on them for a few weeks. So if you value wildlife on your property or just in the state, these wetlands are critically important.
It's not just Oklahoma wildlife that relies on the state's wetlands. Every year, thousands of shorebirds make a pit stop on their migration north.
So Oklahoma, being kind of centrally located in the continent, we're right in the middle of a major flyway for a lot of migratory birds that pass through the state, going up into the northern Great Plains. A lot of these species end up all the way to the boreal of Canada. And the wetlands that Oklahoma has are critical for these species to be able to recharge before they go nest to the north and ultimately produce young that will come back through the state in the fall. There are a lot of species that have been negatively impacted by the drainage and alteration of wetlands. It's hard to imagine now, but a few decades ago, wood duck were in really serious trouble because of loss of wetlands and particularly loss of forested wetlands. As areas have been reforested and we've put in nesting boxes for wood ducks, their numbers have really recovered. So that's a success story for our part of the world of a bird that was almost lost.
Mitigating flooding and providing habitat to wildlife are just some of the benefits that wetlands provide. This ecosystem also plays a huge role in groundwater recharge.
If you as a landowner are concerned about losing groundwater, wetlands act as that conduit that allows water to actually recharge groundwater. They are important in terms of nutrient cycling. When we think about, if you look at the Gulf of Mexico, there's a huge dead zone that is a major reason for that is with all of the pollutants that come down the Mississippi River. Well, wetlands, they can filter a lot of these pollutants, a lot of the nitrates that come in the system, phosphate that comes in the system, and so they basically clean the water. And so you think of them as basically nature's kidneys is what they're often referred to.
For more information on wetlands and wetland restoration programs, go to our website, sunup.okstate.edu. I'm Curtis Hare.